Welcome to a spine-chilling journey through the 10 most haunted places in Spain. From eerie abandoned hospitals to cursed battlefields, these locations hold terrifying secrets, ghostly apparitions, and dark legends that will send shivers down your spine. Are you brave enough to uncover the haunted history of Spain's most infamous places? Stay with us, if you dare. 1. Parador de Jaén. Jaén, perched atop Santa Catalina Hill. The Parador de Jaén stands as a majestic fortress with a grim and ghostly past. Once a medieval castle, its stone walls have witnessed centuries of bloodshed, imprisonment, and despair. But among the many spirits rumored to linger here, one tragic figure is seen the most: a weeping woman known as La Dama Blanca, the White Lady. Legend has it that centuries ago, a prisoner, a young woman accused of treason, was locked away in one of the castle's cold, dark chambers. Left to rot in isolation, she perished in sorrow, her cries of anguish fading into the stone. But her spirit never left. Guests who stay in room 22 have reported hearing soft sobs echoing through the night, accompanied by an overwhelming sense of sadness. Some have seen a shadowy figure in a white gown standing near the foot of their bed, vanishing when they scream. Others claim to feel an icy breath on their neck, as if someone unseen is watching from the darkness. Even the staff avoid that room after dark. No matter how many times it's blessed, the spirit of La Dama Blanca remains, forever mourning within the haunted walls of Parador de Jaén. 2. The House of Seven Chimneys, Madrid. Nestled in the heart of Madrid, the House of Seven Chimneys, Casa de las Siete Chimeneas, is a grand yet eerie mansion with a history steeped in mystery, betrayal, and death. Built in the 16th century, this house was once the home of Captain Zapata and his young wife, Elena. But what began as a love story soon turned into a chilling tragedy. Captain Zapata was sent to war in Flanders, never to return. Grief-stricken, Elena was said to have been found dead in her bedroom under mysterious circumstances. Some say of a broken heart, others whisper of murder. Even more disturbingly, her body vanished without a trace before burial, leaving only bloodstains on the floor as evidence of her untimely demise. Soon after, ghostly apparitions began to haunt the house. Servants spoke of Elena's pale figure wandering the halls, clutching her chest as if in pain. Some swore they heard her heartbreaking cries at night, while others saw a spectral woman standing on the roof, pointing toward the royal palace. Centuries later, during renovations, a hidden skeleton was discovered behind the walls, believed to be Elena's remains, buried in secrecy. Even today, those who pass by the house at night claim to see a ghostly silhouette moving behind the windows or hear whispers in the wind, forever echoing Elena's sorrowful fate. 3. The Belchite Ruins, Zaragoza. The town of Belchite in Zaragoza stands as a chilling reminder of Spain's dark past, its crumbling ruins whispering tales of violence and tragedy. Once a thriving village, Belchite was obliterated during the Spanish Civil War in 1937, leaving only shattered buildings and the echoes of the thousands who perished in its streets. Instead of rebuilding, the Spanish government chose to leave the ruins as they were, a ghost town frozen in time. But the dead did not rest. Visitors wandering through the remains of the old church and town square often report disembodied voices, eerie footsteps, and shadowy figures darting between the ruins. Many claim to have heard gunfire and the anguished cries of soldiers, as if the battle still raged on in some spectral dimension. Paranormal investigators have captured EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, of voices calling for help, speaking in old Spanish dialects, and even gasping for air, as if reliving their final moments. One of the most terrifying legends is that of a headless monk, seen wandering the outskirts of the ruins, his decapitated form glowing under the moonlight. Those brave enough to venture deep into the ruins at night have also spoken of unseen hands grabbing at their clothes, as if the spirits are desperate to make contact. The silence of Belchite is deceptive, for in every crumbling wall, in every whisper of the wind, the voices of the past still cry out, refusing to be forgotten. 4. Hospital del Tórax, Terrassa. Sitting in eerie silence on the outskirts of Terrassa, Spain, the Hospital del Tórax was once a place of suffering, despair, and death. Originally built in the 1950s, the hospital was designed to treat patients suffering from lung diseases, primarily tuberculosis. However, due to the excruciatingly painful treatments and the hopeless prognosis of many patients, the hospital soon became infamous for having one of the highest suicide rates in Spain. It is said that patients would leap from the 9th floor, known as the suicide wing, plunging to their deaths in the gardens below. Some believe the sheer volume of deaths left a permanent stain on the building, trapping tormented souls within its walls. Paranormal investigators have recorded whispers, blood-curdling screams, and shadowy figures lurking in the abandoned hallways. Perhaps the most terrifying entity is La Chica de la Habitación 502, the girl from room 502. Many claim to have seen a woman in a hospital gown wandering the corridors, her face twisted in agony. Security guards and thrill-seekers who dared to enter reported being touched, scratched, and even choked by an invisible force. Now abandoned, the hospital has become a hotspot for ghost hunters and urban explorers, many of whom leave with unshakable feelings of unease, nausea, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Some say the spirits of the tormented patients are still there, reliving their suffering night after night, waiting for the living to join them. 5. Monte de las Animas, Soria. Deep in the province of Soria, Spain, lies a cursed place shrouded in legend, the Monte de las Animas, Mountain of Souls. This desolate forested hill is notorious for its chilling history and the spirits said to haunt it. According to legend, centuries ago, a brutal battle took place between the Templars and noble hunters, staining the land with blood. Many warriors fell, their bodies left unburied, and from that moment on, their restless souls were doomed to wander the land. The legend was made famous by Spanish writer Gustavo Adolfo Bécquer, who penned a terrifying tale of a young nobleman named Alonso, who dared to retrieve a lost scarf from the haunted woods on All Saints' Eve, only to be found dead the next morning, his face frozen in horror. Even today, locals avoid Monte de las Animas after nightfall. Those who have ventured in at dusk report ghostly whispers carried by the wind, distant screams echoing in the dark, and the unsettling sound of galloping hooves, though no horse is ever seen. Some claim to have felt invisible hands tugging at their clothes, as if unseen forces were trying to pull them into the earth. Many believe that on the night of November 1st, the spirits of the fallen knights rise once more, reliving their final moments in an endless loop of agony. Brave enough to visit? Be warned, those who linger too long may not return the same, if they return at all. 6. The Ghost. Metro station of Chamberi, Madrid. Beneath the bustling streets of Madrid, hidden in the shadows of the modern metro system, lies Chamberi Station, a place frozen in time, shrouded in eerie silence. Once a fully operational metro stop, Chamberi was abandoned in 1966, when newer, longer trains could no longer fit its outdated platforms. The station was simply sealed off, left untouched for decades, earning it the chilling nickname, Madrid's Ghost Station. But it's not just the emptiness that unsettles visitors. Passengers on passing trains have reported shadowy figures standing on the platform, only to vanish when the train slows down. Some say they've glimpsed the ghostly outline of an old man in a suit, staring vacantly at nothing, as if waiting for a train that will never come. Maintenance workers tasked with inspecting the tunnels refuse to work alone. They speak of disembodied whispers echoing through the darkness, sudden drops in temperature, and the inexplicable flickering of old, long disconnected lights. Some even claim to have heard the faint, ghostly sound of train announcements from an era long past, though no speaker system remains operational. Today, Chamberi has been transformed into a museum, preserving its eerie, mid-century design. But even in its restored state, many visitors report an overwhelming sense of being watched, as if unseen eyes still linger in the darkness. So, if you ever take a late-night metro ride through Madrid, pay close attention as you pass through the darkened tunnels. You might just catch a glimpse of Chamberi's ghostly commuters, trapped in time, forever waiting for their train. 7. The Luarca Cemetery, Asturias. Perched on a cliffside overlooking the raging Cantabrian Sea, Luarca Cemetery is as breathtaking as it is unsettling. By day, its white tombstones contrast beautifully against the deep blue ocean. But as the sun sets, the cemetery transforms into something far more sinister, a place where the dead refuse to rest. Locals whisper about the Lady in White, a ghostly woman who roams the graveyard in silence. Some say she was a heartbroken widow who threw herself into the sea after losing her lover. Others claim she was a victim of betrayal, cursed to wander the cemetery for eternity, seeking revenge on those who wronged her. Those who have encountered her speak of a chilling presence, a suffocating sorrow that makes the air heavy and still. But she is not alone. Visitors have reported disembodied whispers drifting through the night air, footsteps crunching on gravel when no one is there, and shadowy figures standing among the tombstones, only to vanish in the blink of an eye. Fishermen sailing past the cemetery at night claim to see ghostly lights dancing among the graves, as if spirits are rising from their eternal slumber. Some believe Luarca Cemetery is a portal, a place where the boundary between the living and the dead is dangerously thin. Those who dare to enter at night often leave with an unshakable feeling that something followed them home, lingering just beyond sight, waiting to be acknowledged. 8. The Cortijo Jurado, Malaga. Standing in eerie isolation on the outskirts of Malaga, Cortijo Jurado is more than just an abandoned mansion. It is a house of nightmares. Built in the 19th century by a wealthy family, this sprawling estate hides a dark and horrifying past, one that continues to haunt those who dare step inside. Legends tell of young girls who mysteriously vanished in the area, their bodies later discovered in unspeakable conditions. Whispers of occult rituals and secret underground tunnels beneath the mansion suggest they were brought here, their spirits now trapped within the decaying walls. Paranormal investigators claim to have heard agonized screams echoing through the corridors, and some have even captured shadowy figures lurking in the darkness. Visitors describe the overwhelming sensation of being watched, as if unseen eyes are tracking their every move. Some have felt an invisible force tugging at their clothes, urging them to leave. But the most terrifying accounts come from those who descend into the basement, where the air grows heavy and a deep sense of dread takes hold. It is said that if you stand in silence, you can hear whispers rising from the floors below, voices calling out for help, for mercy, for escape. The mansion remains abandoned, its windows like empty eyes staring into the void. Locals avoid the place at night, fearing that whatever haunts Cortijo Jurado is far from finished with its victims. 9. San Cristobal Fortress, San Sebastian. High above San Sebastian, San Cristobal Fortress looms over the landscape like a silent sentinel of the past. Built in the late 19th century, this fortress was meant to protect, but instead, it became a prison of despair and suffering. During the Spanish Civil War, thousands of political prisoners were held here in brutal conditions, many of whom met their end within its stone walls. Some were executed, others perished from disease and starvation. Their restless souls are said to still wander the dark corridors. Visitors report a bone-chilling cold that lingers even in the height of summer. Disembodied whispers echo through the empty halls, and some claim to have seen shadowy figures pacing the fortress ramparts, eternally trapped between life and death. The most infamous legend tells of the mass prison escape of 1938, when over 2,000 prisoners fled into the night. Most were hunted down and executed. Some believe their spirits returned to the fortress, reliving their desperate flight over and over again. Perhaps the most terrifying phenomenon occurs in the underground cells. Those brave enough to enter claim to feel an invisible presence brushing against their skin, hear the sound of chains dragging along the stone floors, and, most chilling of all, a voice whispering their name from the darkness. The fortress stands abandoned, its secrets sealed in time. But for those who step within its walls, the past is never truly silent. 10. The Cathedral of Toledo, Toledo Rising. Majestically over the ancient city, the Cathedral of Toledo is not just a breathtaking architectural marvel. It is a place where shadows whisper and spirits refuse to rest. Built in the 13th century, this Gothic masterpiece has witnessed centuries of death, betrayal, and dark rituals hidden behind its grand facades. Legends speak of a cursed archbishop who was buried beneath the cathedral's floors after practicing forbidden rituals. His spirit is said to haunt the crypts, his footsteps echoing through the corridors at night, searching for salvation that never comes. Some visitors claim to have seen a hooded figure drifting through the aisles, vanishing when approached. But the most chilling tale belongs to the miracle of the White Lady, a ghostly woman in white who appears before those who are about to die. A group of tourists once reported seeing her standing near the golden altar, only to learn later that one of them had suffered a fatal accident shortly after. The cathedral's sacristy holds an ancient mirror, rumored to reflect not only the living, but also the souls trapped within its walls. Those who have dared to look into it claim to have seen figures standing behind them, though no one else was in the room. With its towering spires and dark history, the Cathedral of Toledo is more than a place of worship. It is a gateway to the unknown, where the line between the living and the dead is perilously thin. You've now seen the chilling truth behind Spain's most haunted locations. Do you believe in ghosts? Or are these just eerie coincidences? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this terrifying journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-tingling horror stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay brave.